We have a question from Jimmer. He says, what's your thoughts on TurboTax versus a tax guy? Our return is not too complicated at this point, but he's wondering, how do you tell when you're ready for one over the other?
Know thyself. Let me tell you an experience share here. We have a brilliant client. I bet she watches this still.
Oh, yeah. She's still here for sure.
Goes to one of those fancy schools that, I'll just say because it doesn't tell who she is, but she went to MIT.
Yep.
And she's a client, and we're telling her, hey, your life's getting complicated. You ought to hire a tax preparer. Just save yourself the effort. And then she hires a tax preparer. And then she comes back to us. She goes, guys, I just don't know. You guys tell me that this is supposed to make my life easier, but their results didn't match my results. And I kid you not, she whips out, I think, a TurboTax file right next to the table. And I was like, wait a minute.
You're doing the taxes.
You hired an accountant, but then you also did TurboTax. She's like, oh, yeah. I need to know if I'm getting my value. I had to see if I'm getting my money's worth out of it. I was like, well, this blows up the entire value proposition of hiring a professional because you're paying for something you were doing yourself. So that's why I say know yourself, Jimmer, and the fact that if you're a person that can't walk away from the process and your setup is so simple, I don't have a problem with you using TurboTax. The problem I have is when you get more complicated. You add in rental property, you add in portfolio assets that have K1s and all these other things that you're like, what the heck do I do with this? And you're having to file extensions and other things. It might make sense to have somebody on your team that can kind of co-pilot, help you organize it, maximize, help you with blind spots that you don't know. It's one of those things. I did taxes for 16 years. I thought I would be saddened in that first tax season that I was no longer doing my taxes. But guys, I sold my tax practice. Was that 2012? 2013?
Like
it was, I haven't missed it. I haven't missed it at all. So I think but it doesn't mean I'm not involved. My CPA very well knows that I imagine, just like I have financial planning clients, that every time I get on the phone with them, I'm like, man, they're so daggum smart. I better make sure I've done my homework. I got to believe that Lorraine thinks that about us too, is because she knows that I'm still an active, involved person, but she is the professional that's preparing my tax return. She's the one that's signing it. Know thyself. Figure out if you're actually going to get value and use it, or if you're the type of person that actually really gets a kick out of doing your own taxes, because we've seen all types.
I don't think it's even as complicated as K1s. You ever try to do a backdoor Roth conversion on TurboTax? Trying to get the 8606s to turn out right? It's like every year we got to walk just tons of clients through that. This is what I would tell you. If you are going to be a self-preparer and you're going to use TurboTax, you're going to use one of these systems or softwares, let technology be your friend. It's one thing like, I don't want to go pay a preparer. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to go. I get that. That's fine. But look, it's so easy now where you can upload your 1099s, you can upload your tax forms, and it will automatically populate. Allow technology to do that for you. Allow it to do that. I am amazed. I have a dear friend of mine. And this guy he has to pay estimated tax payments. And this sucker was writing a check every quarter, and he was printing out his voucher.
Are you gonna pick on me?
No, I didn't say who the friend was.
Oh,
and he was
son of a gun.
He had the check, and he would write. He'd put the voucher together, and he'd go lick the envelope, and he would stick it in the mail. I'm like, guy, what are you doing? The IRS Direct Pay system is so great. You can do it automatically. You can send it ACH, and just if you're going to be someone who you can't walk away from, you love doing your own taxes, let technology be your friend. If you're someone who's printing the forms and hand filling them out and mailing them in, there might be some better solutions for you out there. Don't fight the momentum of where it's going, even if you're going to be a preparer, because there are tools out there that can make it much, much easier.
I don't know if my red has come out of my face yet, but I'm the friend he's talking about.
I wasn't gonna. They had no idea.
You really ousted yourself there.
I enjoyed the process of writing the check, scanning the check with the pay stub in, getting the float of it, because it'll take a few days for the government to cash a check. But Bo has a solid point in the fact that the government misplaced one of my estimated tax payments. They allocated it to the wrong period. And I realized that sometimes with the IRS, they like the payment coupon, the checks, I think there's some separation process when the things come in, that there's a lot of areas between the humans that are involved for it to get screwed up. Whereas when you go use their electronic pay system, you're actually telling on the website which what tax year you want to apply to. They yank the money the same day. It's unbelievable. It's now become a joke that it's the opposite of the float. They can give people who write paper checks floats because they're yanking the money so fast that it almost feels like it came out yesterday. Because as soon as you go on that electronic payment site, they yank the money out. It's almost like a wire transfer. It's so fast. But but Bo has a solid point. Technology, and I was reformed. And what's funny is I know some other employees here who have to make estimated tax payments, and they have also been converted because of my cautionary tale.